Stream. See what we can call it. My Mystical Vlogs. Episode 3. Let's do it. What am I doing? Oh, I have to wait. Here we are. Mystical Vlogs, episode 3. Have some bird music while we get started. get the song start there, but we are almost back now. Almost ready here. Let you have empty chair while I come back, because I was away from the chair while the song ended. So have some empty chair and my butt apparently. Okay, we're back. We're live now. We're back. And we're here. We're back. Finally, to start. I was procrastinating to start. That's what you get. I would like to really hang out with some music, but we can't really do that on YouTube. So you're gonna get this camera angle. It's still a work in progress, but I don't hate this angle, and I don't really want to keep fucking with it. So we're gonna go with that today. And before we get started on the readings and the chilling and the me just choosing my outfits that we're gonna start using here. Not trying to steal from Dove and Serpent, but I have this really cool smoking jacket that I never use for anything, so I might as well use it for this. All right, so we're gonna open with the going theme of the week here because I keep getting this card myself in the Oracle deck. So this is what our higher self keeps telling us right now. Pretty hard thing to really actually grasp. I've been struggling with it too, but we're gonna leave that there because this is the lesson that we're all working with right now this week. We're gonna go ahead and light the grounding candle now. We have our right next to the camera here. We have our black candle with some smoky quartz. Really cool melted black candle wax that I've been making with it. A very nice pile of ashed black salt around. So we have a nice pile here, and then I have my two main guide stones representing that, and then I also have my stone bunny representing me. Over here on the side. I want to let you know what my table setup is. Then I have like a lot of my major birthstones and one of my major animals here, and her actual fuzz. Very special to me. And we got a little bit of this with it. If you know what that is. And just some various stones because I'm not going to explain the stone of magic to you. If you know, you know. Especially if you're from a particular planet that starts with an L. It's not Earth. Earth is cool though. So that planet was cool in its own right, but Earth has its coolness too, and Earth is like way more unique in its own way. So it's pretty fun. We're getting all trippy talky here. Trippy talky. That's what you're gonna get in my channel. We're doing I call this light Whittles miasma. So it's a little bit of cannabis, your choice. I'm smoking some Betty's Ghost. But it's also ground up with lavender, mugwort, pink and red rose, and blue lotus. It's pretty good. Ooh, the lavender really gives it. The lavender mugwort really gives it a really good flavor. And the pink and red rose kind of balance that out a little bit too. Some dandelion would be good in there. Lavender. I've never smoked lavender before. It's fucking great. We're just getting a little kickback into the vibe. We're not just gonna jump right into a fucking card reading. I was giving you the card of the week theme there because that's the card that just keeps coming out every time I do the oracle here. We have some new oracle coming at some point this week. I will share with you because we're gonna have a couple new decks that we don't have here. And you've only seen me really work with these two decks right now. So I'll introduce you to the new decks we'll be working with now. We have, look at this, the Halloween Tarot. So, like, instead of swords, this is the Five of Bats. So, this is the Five of Swords, but it's the Five of Bats. Pretty cool. And then we have my little tiny Rider-Waite-Smith deck that I got. Little tiny Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It's cute. We will use these. I like these, but they're very small, so shuffling happens in the deck. It's just easier to keep them shuffled like that. They're fun to use though. It's literally just a tiny Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And then something I'm really proud of. We're going to be instituting into the stream at the end of every reading. You will have your chance to ask Death a question. I'm not going to show you the other side of these cards, not until you ask your question. And here in a few, we're going to do our first reading, and we'll have our chance to ask. But this is something we'll do every reading. It might turn into an extended thing. I don't know. But especially for personal readings too, you always have your chance to ask Death a question. And I'm not speaking for Death. That's Death. She speaks for herself. Oh, well, we have our first card. I wasn't even doing a reading. I was just trying to get a little shuffle going. But it wants to tell me something here. It wants me to flip it over too. So we have the sun. The Great Pumpkin. The Great Pumpkin comes over the sun, Charlie Brown. That's what I'm getting off that. And the kitty cat's over here having a seizure. Look at the happy eggplants. Oh, I want to make a moussaka with them. The big sleepy two-headed giant. We're just opening here on Judgment Reversed. Excellent card for Halloween season. Excellent card for what we're about to do here too. This is a good opening message from the spirit. I'm not gonna go too deep into this because we're not like diving into a collective reading here. I'm just opening up the stream. We have one face down, so I guess we're gonna read that last. This is the last one here. King of Imps, or if you're reading this without knowing what we're doing, this is the King of Wands. But is in his undignified position. Ooh, and that gray lion really stands out for me for some reason while he's in this position. Like it just kind of snuck up on me. Like it's saying, like, kind of check your ego. Don't shun your shadow side, but don't let him trick you either. Okay. Flip this over. And we have the universe or the world on the traditional sense. Ooh, this is a really cool card too with the Halloween theme. With the big white eel, the white bat in the corner, the white lizard and the white scorpion. And it says Nihag was here or something. Okay, there's a carving in the that's cool. Very 90s. We have Saturn over here in the setting sun. On the other side of the black cat, over in his crotch too, which I'm gonna get some meaning out of that. Especially with the four bat, with the big bat here, the white bat, the white fish, really standing out. Scorpion kind of. That's cool. All right. That was just a loose general message from Spirit. I'm not gonna go too deep into what I think that was. You can take that for what you think it was. That's the whole point. Now we're gonna get a little bit more direct. So right now it's just a shuffle. And then we're gonna load a fresh little bowl, and we're gonna smoke that bowl. And then we're going to give a direct. I don't know. Do we want to do a zodiac sign or just a collective direct? Let's see. I feel like collective probably might be a little bit easier to work with here. I say easier, but there's a much bigger energy. Let me know if I'm a little quiet or not able to hear or whatever too. I'm working with this setup. I don't it's a work in progress. This isn't like an actual studio I have here, as you can see. It's close, but I need to set some things up if we're gonna make this work here. Um and then I drop it. Did you see that? That was well, I guess we're gonna send that as an offering, huh? Well, that just means we're gonna have some straight cannabis instead of my blend. By the way, if you want the blend, you can make it yourself. Mostly it's herbs you can get from like any herb shop. It's just if you happen to be in a state where you can get this, you do need to add this. But if you want my blend without the cannabis, it would be the same thing: mugwort, pink, red lotus, pink, red rose, blue lotus, and lavender. If you want the true blend, add your choice of cannabis. If you want that in like a stone essence, I can make it for you. Just hit me up on an email. Give me like $15 and I'll give you one. Like a bracelet or a necklace or whatever form you want it in. And it will not just be a dinky little necklace. It will be actually enchanted and charged with real shit. I don't sell just dinky shit. Although I'm wearing a bunch of dinky rings, but they're all silver and they look cool. I like that. Not like super fancy expensive silver either. This is like dollar store fucking barely coated silver and aluminum. But there's enough silver in them that they count, and I like that. Eventually, you'll see me tie this together, so I'm gonna get a couple tattoos on my hands here soon. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the real one. Start with a spooky reading to the collective. Let's start with a 2-card message from the higher self to the collective's higher self. What does the collective need to say to the higher self tonight while we get started on our stuff? Just gonna keep shuffling. So, this is a bunch of things just kind of happened right now. The higher self just kind of spit all that out. So we're gonna go with this card first. I'll show you in a second. I need to pick up the ones that fell. It wants me to use all of those, but we don't have a lot of table space, or we're also just opening up a reading here, so we have a lot more time than just one reading. So, because I've got like 3 subs, I can go all night. I need to know how many cards fell because I don't want to lose my cards. Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna go with all 3 of these. This is the opening message from the higher self to the collective. First of all, I think we should start with this one. It's very, very important to start with this one here. Take the number and the message for what you will. I'm not going to break it down too much. It's pretty much self explanatory. You are a big, big sparrow of emotion, and you should embrace that. But don't let it become, don't let any one of those emotions become like the controlling factor of your life. You know, we're all human. We need to feel these things. We need to exist here in the now. That's why we're here, and that's part of the things that we're supposed to be teaching the universe, which is a part of ourselves, by the way. And this really reinforces that multifaceted being right here, big multi-layered gemstone god, demigod, conscious being, whatever the fuck you want to imagine it as. Really good, reinforces what I was just kind of trying to hit on there. And if you can understand that little concept, then you'll ultimately be able to get this. Infinitely slow, long-term growth. This is something we all work on. This is everything you struggle with your day-to-day life, no matter how good or bad it is. Everybody has those problems they ask at the end of the night when they're fucking going to bed. Everybody. Those are what those cards are kind of telling you. Trying to tell me too, I guess. Yeah, fun. All right, we have one more hidden down. We're gonna use that at the halfway point of this reading. So where should we start? Thoth or Halloween? Since it's spooky season, I think we start with Halloween. We're gonna start one Halloween here, and then we're gonna shuffle. This is a message for the collective, and I don't fully practice this spread, but we're gonna do this anyway. Brand new deck, Halloween deck. Not done a reading outside of one personally with myself for this deck, but we're going at it because I have to put myself out there to show you what I can do and to show you what you can do because everybody can do this. And it's not magic, but it is. It really fucking is. And we're gonna flip that one face up because I think we really need to read that one first. 3 of Heads, definitely. Okay, so collective has some issues, maybe not something you're super serious about, but it's something tugging at your mind. We need to really flip this one around to really understand what's going on here. Okay, 6 of Bats, which would be 6 of Swords if you've not done this deck. And 3 of Imps is 3 of Wands. Obviously, you can see the Wands. I'll show you the artwork. Starting with the 6 of Bats. Don't mind my lighting here. Like I said, this is a work in progress. And we have that one. So it's like we're at a crossroads. We're coming to a decision, some kind of big change in our life. We're not sure if we're ready to make that decision. I mean, I know what that's like. Especially if you can make that decision, but it doesn't affect the here and now. That's where I'm getting, because that's kind of where I'm coming from too. I say go for it, but it's kind of what the 3 of Wands is saying too. There's one not lit. And how do you know if it's right or not? You at least gotta light it and see. I mean, if it doesn't fucking work, then you can at least put it out in the water. The cat's over here reaffirming that. That's what I'm seeing here. Don't know what that means for you, collective. If this resonates with you, if it does, take what resonates with you, flip it however it does. If it doesn't, pass this along to someone else and give me a like. Thank you for watching, and it's all in a place of love and light and healing, even in the shadows and dark. all that stuff, all that fun hippie stuff. And now we have the Knight of Pumpkins. I really like this card. Gypsy woman with the owl. By the way, the owl was my Native American's zodiac animal. She's giving it a very knowingly look. You have to remember this is Nine of Discs or Nine of Pentacles. If you're going to read it that way, I read discs. If you've seen my earlier stuff, you understand. I use the Thoth deck as my base. And if you don't, you should look at it. So the Nine of Pumpkins is saying definitely like that thing because you're not going to have to put it out in the water. It's going to lead you down to something you don't know it's coming. That is a very nice pathway. Like you're going to be a queen or a king in your own right if you take that step. Eight of Pumpkins is just reaffirming that actually now you have both the masculine and the feminine side. Because he's over here making the pumpkins for her to sell. Yeah, if you want to take that more of a literal floaty toady, there's probably a masculine love life coming your way. If you, the spirit is kind of saying that, but I don't like to play that kind of thing. There's 100 fucking YouTubers out there fucking reading tarot cards telling you that. I'm gonna be real with you. If you're gonna read with me, we're diving deep within ourselves and not asking what's gonna happen or who I should marry and all that hoity-toity shit. See, and the cards agree with me because now we have this one. You ask the deeper questions, find the deeper meaning within yourself, and you can actually fully understand your potential. It's better than you think. That was pretty cool. All right, one more, and then we're gonna flip the oracle. Eight of Bats reversed, or undignified, if you like to. I like to use that term. Especially this card. Wow, okay. Because you have the mummy being unfurled upside down because we're reversed, mind you. This is normally right side up, but being unfurled by the bats. But I really like it because it's upside down. I'll show it to you the way it is. We have the moon in the lower left. I like that. If you embrace these two sides of yourself, not only will you become a star, but you'll release the chains that have bound you to have these anxieties. Light that third torch. Like I said, if all else fails, at least you have the ocean there to put it out. All right, now we're gonna flip the oracle. See, and it reaffirms it. Throw stuff at wall, see what sticks. If nothing sticks, just hang out in the pile, man. Hang out in the pile. Eventually, you're gonna unravel, whether or not you're right side up. That's not what matters. We all get stuck in like our ideas and stuff. Like, I've been like that for a long time too. But right now, that's what I'm doing. I'm just throwing shit at the fucking. I'm just throwing shit and seeing what sticks. If nothing sticks, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing because I like it. And now we have the Wheel of Fortune reversed. So, ooh, this one's going to be like a pass type card in this sense. So, it's like you almost feel like everything you did was almost right. The same thing. Uh, but unlike when the Wheel of Fortune is upright on this card, you're like the guy at the carnival getting the knife thrown and it's always missing. But since we're in reverse, it's always hitting. Ooh. Uh, you're like me. You feel like everything, no matter what you do, it's not right. But it is. You see, it doesn't matter if it's wrong or right. The matter is if we keep the wheel keep turning. That's why it's the Wheel of Fortune because it keeps spinning. You never know. It doesn't always have to be upside down. And that reinforces what I'm saying. I'll show you these last two cards. Oh, sorry. Wheel of Fortune reversed. And the Hermit reversed, which is really cool with what I was going on this topic because, like I was saying, you can always keep that wheel turning. You can find what makes the wheel happen, what makes the wheel miss. You can chemically change that. You can be like me. You can be a motherfucking alchemist. Collective, whoever I'm talking to here probably is a fucking alchemist. You can take that energy and you can reverse it. It's hard to do. I'm only like really just understanding myself how to do it. Um, but you can do it, and if you can, you can flip this card around. In fact, let's keep going. Again, you think your strength is your weakness. What you think makes you weak makes you strong, and that's why we collective read this reversed. But I want you to read this straight up too. I want you to read it the way I do because whenever I read this card, I know this is a Halloween deck and this isn't this deck, but whenever I read this, I always see Lucy bringing Aslan back, and that doesn't happen in the book. And he's the one who gives her the power to begin with, and that's what I'm saying, especially reversed. You don't think you have this power, but the things that you think make you weak are exactly the things that give you this power. Final card. I'd be lying if I just said it was like that. Hierophant reversed. Especially with this card, the Mummy and the Wand, yeah. It's like you almost understand what I'm saying, but you don't think you're worthy of that kind of knowledge. We have that imposter syndrome going on here. And you can't let the imposter syndrome get the better of you. You have to give yourself the respect that you deserve. And especially with this card being reversed, if you look yourself in the mirror deep down, you know you're not doing that. And this card is here to reinforce it, especially wrapped in the mummy. Because you reverse it, and the mummy could become unwrapped and become something very beautiful. It would become the next Egyptian god. You have these two urns here. This is why I'm sitting here, my intuition with this reading. This is my first time doing a 10 card reading, and my first time using the Halloween tarot. And yeah, I see that you are reinforcing what we're saying here with the wheel and the three of imps and lighting the torch, moving on to become the star, releasing that eight of bats energy. but you're not fully ready to embrace the Hierophant. That's why it's reversed. And if you're not really ready to ask that, we'll do one final thing before we close the session, where we'll always close our session with one of these. Ooh, in fact, I think we should shuffle first. So, on the note that I'm talking about with this wheel of 10 cards here, collective, what does Death need to know? We're gonna, on this message here about becoming a Hierophant, but afraid to apparently, or not willing to accept the things that can help make you stronger. Death, what do you have to say? We are asking Death a final question. Feed the future. Embrace the message here that we're saying, fam, and create, no matter if you think it's beautiful or not. Do what it is that is you. And embrace whatever happens, good or bad. Because Death has one more thing to say. There's always going to be a pathway to love. And on that, we're going to close our first collective message with the Halloween Tarot. Again, if this resonated with you in any way, let me know in the comments, or give me a like, subscribe if you like that stuff. Pass this on if it didn't resonate, or don't even motherfucking watch. I don't care. But if this did resonate with you, because I feel like this was pretty cool, let us see what happens next. Next, we're going to do another open reading, because I still have a little bit of energy tonight. But that was a 9-card reading, and it was pretty deep with the Oracle and asking Death. So we are going to take a little bit of a break. I need to go get me some water. So enjoy a song while we break. Something I can play without getting copyright. How about this one? y'all don't do this stuff, it does actually use up a lot of energy doing filter correctly. I'm like, oh, to the stream. Extreme. Yeah. I don't know. Just fucking around. It has fun. Alright. So before we get started, we did have a opening message coming through from Collective's Higher Consciousness. This is a very deep card here. If you, I'm just gonna put it there. Scratch my neck. And it says, "Not who I'll wonder who are lost, but yes, yes I am." I've been there, but maybe not as deep as this card's going, because he's like facing his own shadow stuff into the desert. So, and we have not normally what I would do here, but it was coming through pretty strong. Death is wanting to say, guys, find yourself lost in that desert and become that beautiful skeletal fucking raven that rises in the moonlight. Or within your own shadow. That's what that's saying. Embrace that, because part of, the light also creates the shadow. It's not the other way around. The shadow doesn't destroy the light. It's that you've been misled if you believe that, because there's only one opposite to the holy tetragrammaton, and that is nothing. And now we will do a Rider-Waite reading. To the collective, I'm still collecting cards. Give me a second. These are very tiny. I got these because they're cute. But this is not going to be a cute reading. Well, maybe. Who knows? To the collective, what does the Rider-Waite Smith have to say to the collective? Or to me, as we're just getting started doing this and we're practicing, and just trying to be real here, because let's be real, you don't do this shit for shits and giggles, and if you do, you ain't taking it seriously. If you don't take this seriously, then you don't really have any business handling the cards. And I keep saying no, so these top cards are what we're gonna have to use. Ooh, let's start with that one. We're gonna start with. Oh, I'm sorry, I asked you. Just throwing things at me here. All right, there you go. That feels right. Right off the bat, we're starting defeated with the Ten of Swords. Just soldier with all of the swords on his back on the ground. This heavy swords energy here in the early October is just really crazy. We feeling it. Alright, so we had the heavy swords, and we gotta do the reverse here, sideways, but not really reverse, but the devil. Struggling with our own inner demons and our own duality. Not understanding where the light comes from or where the shadow. And it leaves us feeling defeated and broken. And it's easy to feel that way. Been there. We all still struggle with that daily, honestly. And I'll go ahead and show you the cards. Little tiny cute Rider-Waite deck. So tiny. Oh, it's not working. Hang on. Okay, see how cute they are? They're tiny. This way. And we have the Five of Cups reversed. So I feel like you're going through a change within yourself, but it's coming out on the other side, but you're feeling kind of hollow, or see the cups are empty and falling over. See, we have the five of cups, but reversed. Yeah, I'm feeling empty and hollow, and kind of alone. Maybe like death even itself has abandoned you, but don't worry about that because we have death over here still giving you this message. Oh, flip. Okay, and now we have five of discs. So you can take that. You're taking that reverse five of cups energy and putting it back into the earth where it belongs. It's gonna reward you. See, you have the guy with the little limpy here getting. I want to say led to a new leg. Well, getting off that. I could read that so many different ways, but that's what I'm seeing right now. Yeah. What you feeling? What? Okay, so what we're getting here basically is what the energy that you're feeling is crushing you. The energy that you're going through right now, whoever this is for, collective. If this resonates with you, take it as it is, or take it however you resonate with it. If it does not, then keep on watching. I guess give it a like, give it a share, um, or not. If you're still watching, I just appreciate to watch. But also on that note, you're feeling weighed down with this heavy energy from the devil here. And the devil is like change and reconciling your own demons, is what I'm saying, or your own sense of morality. Does that make sense? We all struggle with that. And you feel like what's left you defeated is the only thing that can give you the gateway to what you want. Let's find out if that's true. But we have the Ace of Pentacles, so I think that kind of counteracts what I'm saying there a little bit. If you're gonna go into that, I feel like whoever we're talking to, if you're questioning this kind of stuff, you're kind of going through the same thing I am. And the Ace of Pentacles here is saying, like, you can trust your intuition. You are divinely guided. You are protected by your guides. You're protected by your spirit team. They got your back. Your ancestors. If you know, you know. You know who you're talking to. And if you don't know, I suggest you ask. We're gonna flip one more here. And then we have the King of Swords. See? If you look deep within yourself, you trust your guides. The divine will lead you to the righteous path, the path that's right for you, the path, whatever that is. If it's within your career or your love life, I'm not going to go deep within those like superficial things right now. I'm just going to go into like the overall general gist. Uh, I could take that a little deeper because I could see this as a love reading, especially with the King of Swords with the red flowing banners off of his mane and stuff. But I'm seeing that more as like those are the ones who doubted you, and their blood is the one who paved your way to this throne. You could take that as a dark energy reading or whatever as you wish, but again, you're working with me, and I don't do shit in the normal way. Yeah, trust. That's what I'm getting out of these two cards specifically. Is trust the spirits who guide you. Trust your intuition. Trust your soul. Trust your gut instincts. because those are what keeps you in path with the divine, whatever that is for you. We're gonna have a higher self card now. A higher self tells you to create right now, not just doing good soft times, which is what we're doing. We're creating, doing the best we can with whatever we think is we want to share, whatever our heart desires to share, and this is what my heart wants to share right now. And if this is not your bag, but you're feeling it, do whatever it is that is your bag. That's making you feel the way you feel when you see this. And we have the sun. That's fantastic. This little deck is cool. We're using the little tiny Rider Waite deck. As the sun is kind of reinforcing, you harness that King of Swords energy. You follow your path through yourself, but you have to understand that, like, even though you feel lost, maybe it's when you're lost that you find that you can finally go deep enough within yourself that you can finally see who you are, and you've been broken down and beaten, and that's when you can finally rise. That's what that's to say. And when you do, when you embrace that energy and you become the King of Swords, then everything opens up and you become the sun. That's really powerful. We can go a little bit deeper with here, like, the innocence of the child here riding naked on the horse, the white pony. It would be like the purity and innocence of child, and that's what this can do for you. Like, when you embrace that light, it'll make you feel like that again. Like what I'm doing. I haven't felt this creative since I was like 15. And I'm not saying like do tarot reading, do what I do, but if what I'm doing is making you feel that way, then find whatever it is for you to do this. This is what the universe wants. This is what you're here to do. And of course, why wouldn't it be anything else? If you listen to me, the universe is responding with this. You open all of the doors when you just unabashedly be yourself, whatever that is. And then I could see it. If you embrace it, the world is yours, baby. You've got it coming. That's like the winning lottery ticket. I'm not gonna Like I said, I'm not the kind of guy who sugarcoats your reading and tells you, "Oh, you're gonna have all this great stuff coming." But if you take that advice, then the universe is here saying it's gonna pay you back. And then you have the lovers reversed, which I like to read. It's also the brothers. So there's a couple different ways we can read this one. I'm reading this as what we're saying over this overall reading. This is also a collective reading, so take this as it resonates. But there's something you need to reconcile about your past with someone. Um, take that for what it is. I've already done my deep looking and all that, all my forgiving. So this isn't for me. But yeah, there's something that you're trying to reflect upon, and the fact that it's a reflecting, loving reading in reverse, and this is the only reverse card we're getting aside from this one here with the Four of Cups. Uh, there's somebody you need to look back. You need to either forgive them or you need to forgive yourself for not forgiving them. If that makes sense. I'm getting big duality energy here. I'm not reading any zodiac signs or anything like that. We're just going off of a general open reading. Uh, Big duality about forgiveness is what I'm seeing here with the Lovers reversed, especially on top of the Sun and the Wheel of Fortune. So, whoever this is for, yeah, you need to look a little within yourself. You need to forgive, or you need to forget, and then you need to forgive yourself for forgetting. And you need to trust that, your spirit's got your back. You've got your back. You understand because you feel the weight of your morality. That's why you're weighed down by this Nine of Swords here, or what is this? Ten of Swords? Ten of Swords. Especially because you weighed down by the Ten of Swords. And it's because of that that you can rise up with the Sun and become the King of Swords again and embrace that Wheel of Fortune. But in order to do that, there is something you need to look back within yourself and forget. I don't know if it's love for yourself or love for another. I don't go onto those kind of planes. That's for you to decide. I do go onto those kind of planes, but not in these open readings. That is, if you want a personal reading, I do free readings up to 30 minutes, anything up to an hour. After that, I will do the first hour half off 30, anything over 2 hours, 60 an hour. Don't have a site for that yet, but you can go ahead and DM me. I also do custom jewelry if you want, like a personal angel talisman or healing chakra bracelet or whatever, little trinkets. I don't make like just trinkets though. Anything I make you will be enchanted and charged with whatever kind of energy you wish. Also, don't have a site for that. This is a work in progress. We're starting from the ground up. So again, email me if you wish. If you want a specific talisman, if you know the moon's in the right cycle for a specific archangel, I can make that talisman for you. And we have the Two of Swords reversed in the final here. Again, it's getting really heavy into that. Like, there's some kind of chain you need to cut, or some kind of tie you need to cut. I don't know what that means. It's something close or something far off in the past. It could be both. But something is holding you back, or something you're holding on to is what's making you feel lost. And then once you let go of that, is when you can finally open your wings. And again, that's what I'm getting off of this. Take it as it resonates. If it doesn't, pass it along. Please give me a like, subscribe, or a hate message. I don't care. We're going to ask Death one more question on the reading. What does Death have to say? Make music. Let your heart sing, boyo, girlo. Let it out. You got something inside you need to share. And if you do, it'll make life just so much beautiful. All those flowers growing around you makes your death mean something. Death is a very powerful messenger here. We're only just getting started with these cards, so um, that was my mystical vlogs for the Sunday. We're gonna end the vlogs with saying, "How about them Broncos winning in London on that crappy ass game?" But hey, 9 sacks. So bounce out of the touchy feely realm there and just start being jock fun again. And that is my readings for tonight. We were gonna do a zodiac reading, but like two open collective readings in a row like that does wear you out, even with the grounding candle. And if you don't believe me, try it yourself. But I do believe that was a fun reading, a good reading, and I think somebody out there needed to hear that message. I was kind of dumbed down a little bit. Like I said, it's a work in progress. We're gonna get better at this as we go. I'm not like super college educated like a lot of the people who do this. Age of Cups is saying the same thing. Souls Doers Mystical Vlogs, Volume 3, Episode 3, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Tune in. We'll probably try to do an Episode 4 again this week before the week's out, but I can't guarantee you that. But you'll at least get one episode a week. I can guarantee you that. Again, like, subscribe, give me a Sour Boy shout out so I can get that sponsorship. Chris, Caleb, I'm looking at you. If y'all don't believe me, go to yourselves to sour.gg and get yourself some Sour Boys. It's the best sour fucking licorice you'll buy. Ever. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. It's really good fucking candy. And on that note, have yourselves a fun Sunday. I hope your team wasn't the Jets.